Looking at regional stories now, Hong Kong's embattled leader Carrie Lam has insisted that the full withdrawal of the controversial extradition bill was a decision made by her government, not Beijing.
The decision is one of the Hong Kong SAR government. In the same way that the bill was introduced, the bill was initiated, introduced and taken forward by the Hong Kong SAR government. Throughout the whole process, the Central People's Government took the position that they understood why we have to do it. They respected my view and they supported me all the way.
She made the clarification a day after her surprise announcement that she would scrap the bill, which has sparked 3 months of increasingly violent protests. Today, Mrs. Lam called the move the first step in breaking the deadlock with protesters, and she also said she will sternly enforce the law to restore peace in Hong Kong. State-run mainland newspaper The China Daily has described the concession as an olive branch that leaves demonstrators with no excuse to continue the violence. But the protesters are vowing to press on with rallies. CNA senior correspondent Roland Lim has more.
Now, despite Mrs. Carrie Lam officially withdrawing the extradition bill on Wednesday overnight, hundreds of protesters took to the streets in illegal assemblies. At Lam MTR station, about 100 descended on the station to protest against the station shuttering its doors on Saturday when police as well as demonstrators clashed. Now, one off-duty station manager was attacked and had to be hospitalized, while the station's ticketing gates and ticketing machines were vandalized. Separately, dozens of protesters also laid siege at Mong Kok police station. They were pointing laser pointers at the police guarding the station. However, they were finally dispersed when riot police arrived.
So whether it is in...
Mrs. Carrie Lam says that the police watchdog, the Independent Police Complaints Council, or IPCC, is a credible body to look into how police have dealt with the recent protests, again rejecting calls to set up an independent committee to look into the whole saga. She stressed that the IPCC is the most appropriate body to look into the matter, while dismissing suggestions that the watchdog largely consists of pro-government figures appointed by her. She said that the government has promised to make public the IPCC report after its completion and that her administration will seriously follow up on its recommendations. Critics, meantime, say that the police watchdog doesn't have full investigative powers in order to conduct this independent study into the protests sparked by the extradition bill. Now, meantime, protesters are planning another stress test at the Hong Kong International Airport, a civil disobedience action to block all the transport nodes that lead to the airport. Remember, last Sunday, protesters were successful in suspending both bus and train services and causing massive traffic jams on the road leading to the airport. That led to about 24 flights cancelled that day. Authorities, meantime, have already placed an injunction for the disruption of services at the airport itself. They are now looking at other legal means to prevent protesters from succeeding again. Roland Lim, CNA, Hong Kong.